Don't be afraid. Hold on. You'll find your way.
Welcome to Growth Made Groovy, where we talk about everything from healing medicine music, working through life challenges,
and developing awareness and connections as we heal and grow along our journey.
Hey everybody, I'm Noel.
And I'm Caroline, and welcome to Growth Made Groovy. And I think today's version of this is probably going to be, what did I say, real, raw reality TV.
Yeah,
Oh boy.
Life taking its twists and turns all around,
Yes.
and giving us the opportunity to learn more about ourselves, accept more,
Walk
forgive
through
more,
and share the process more.
and have compassion for ourselves and each other and
More.
the world in general, and
More.
and feel. Yes,
And
more
feel.
more feel.
More. Yeah. And
So-
accept. I want to use that word because you've been saying that too.
Well, it's a
so
beautiful word.
acceptance.
There's a
So
beautiful
yes,
word
it
with that.
is.
Yeah. It's
And
the
and
key
I
to the
think
whole
that
thing.
leading into the acceptance of this song, which we're about to talk about today, which is
We're never apart. So this is a song we wrote way back. I don't know, you probably have the date. 2 years ago.
April 22nd, 2019.
Okay, 4/22/19. So I always like the 22s. But yeah, so we wrote it, and it was a challenging song to do, first of all, singing wise and guitar wise. And then we just left it right there. It's very vulnerable, open, it's very simple. We left it right there. And so a couple years later, back in March, we just did a reboot of it. And it sounds good. It's a fun little song, but it's really, it's nice. So without further ado, let me do this whole setup here, and we'll play We're Never Apart by In Divinity.
In Divinity Music.
In Divinity Music, right. As we are In Divinity Productions on the Growth Made Groovy podcast. Here we go. Shift. Okay. Share. There's that. Okay.
Nice.
All right. And now here we go.
Okay.
Inside the stillness,
Where I go,
life gets heavy.
I don't know.
I couldn't hide from
Feelings I try,
reaching out to you.
sat down and cried.
Into the home,
We're never apart.
into the home.
We're never apart.
that was a good version.
Yeah, very
That was
nice.
better than the first one we did.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
Well, I mean, that was deep. I mean, the key thing musically though is I went lower on the highs at the first heart, the first chorus, and then I went back to the high. I was always going high, so and that was hard. I mean, it's hard to like
Yeah.
maintain that. But anyway, so that's very. I mean, you're right. It was apropos stuff we were talking about before we started the podcast. You know, is the first verse really hits hard. I mean, it hits home. You know, inside the stillness where I go, life gets heavy and I don't know. I couldn't hide from the feelings. I tried. Reaching out to you, I sat down and cried. I mean, it's literally, you know.
Real raw reality TV. Jeez, man. Yeah. I mean, do you want to start with what you're walking through or what you're doing? Because I think it's very helpful. This isn't like tears aren't necessarily always victim mode. It's also release.
It's grief and release.
Yeah. And
I mean,
and
yeah, I mean, I'm walking through all kinds of stuff, but I mean, you know, the stuff we were talking about from my end was with my daughter, and how I can be, you know, the best father I could be, which needed to be anyways, because I'm her father. But now, since her mother has passed away, how I could be the best father / mother, or at least influential in some way. And I, you know, it's just part of the deal. I have no clue on that. So I just keep going on how I could be the best father. But it's, you know, we had some good trials yesterday, and fantastic, you know, finishes at the end of, you know, her feeling and sharing, me feeling and sharing, and just, you know, yeah, just letting feelings be. Really, there's nothing to fix. Again, and as men, as fathers, we tend to go into the fix it mode. And what happens is if we're wounded fathers, which most men are, the wounded masculine, we go into the fix it because we're uncomfortable with just a feeling, and a feeling doesn't need to be fixed. And so when we go into the feelings to fix them within ourselves, and especially within another, including especially our children, and or our significant other later on in life, but or at the same time, it doesn't matter. But when we try to fix the feeling, that's where the wounds start to really happen, because the disconnect happens within ourselves and within each other. So it's an exploratory process that I'm able to just let myself feel and let her feel, and just be there letting her feel, and be there letting myself feel. And that right there is the, you know, the healing part of it, you know, connecting.
yeah, I mean, this whole thing with we're not taught how to feel our feelings. We're taught to stuff them or run from them. And it doesn't help us to walk through whatever it is that we're walking through when they're stuffed. It does help us to rage and blow up. And part of like the process I'm working through now, without going into another hour of my story right now, is every word is where I am. I mean, I'm like walking through grief from a situation that happened with me, and learning how to sit in the stillness, because I need to do that without like getting into my space of walking around in circles going, I can't, everything's falling apart, everything's chaotic, which it is, and how to walk through that, which is not easy. And then and obviously it's heavy. And I get to the point where I don't know how to do it. And so thank God for Noel, that I have a friend who can walk me through this stuff, for lack of better words, when I'm in it, because sometimes we need support to walk through it. And that last line, I mean, is like so, how do you pronounce it? Poignant?
Yeah.
For me to be able to reach out to you, because that's exactly what I did. And the sit down and cry thing is, you know, and this happened the last time we talked, I think. I can't remember at this point. I don't know. But that's what goes on. And being able to just accept and walk through, feel, release, move on to the next level. I've talked about the next level of the mountain, the new vista, all that stuff. And it's okay to be in it, though. It's okay to experience it in the moment. Noel asked me if I wanted to not do this today. And I said, no, because I think that where we are is important for people to connect with. You know what I mean? It's just that piece of it is so, when people see that they're not the only ones, that they're not alone, that we're not alone, that's where it's important for me, because I don't want to feel like I'm alone either,
Yeah.
So.
Right. And I mean, and it's really important that we do have that connection. And, and as I was reading through again, there's simple lyrics. There's just basically one more verse, but, and at the end I remembered, and again, most of our stuff is double meaning, double meant, if that's a word.
Double mint gum.
There you go. Double meant. But it's reaching out and connecting with another, of course, and it's also reaching out within ourselves and connecting with ourselves. And so again, but the chorus is just into the heart, we're never apart. And so into the heart, we're never apart, meaning me and another, me and you, and into the heart, we're never apart, myself and self, deeper in. And so morning is breaking, the day has come, sharing our vision, watching the sun. Now this is definitely a connection with another. Thinking of heaven, lying awake, living in a better world, it's here to stay. So this is in a connection with one other and or, the entire planet, and beyond is the way I feel this. Morning is breaking, the day has come. So the new opportunities, sharing our vision, watching the sun, the birth of the sun. The sun is the birth of all. And thinking of heaven, lying awake. So as we're lying here in this lifetime, thinking of what's beyond this lifetime, which is here now, but in that essence and that presence, which is living in a better world, it's here to stay, and making that claim, which is all we can do in the now.
Yeah, I think, and I remember when we wrote that, this is when we were pretty much still getting to know each other too. Yeah. So know who we were, like with each other and with our vision, because our vision was big. It was like, get out there and save the world with all these songs or whatever, maybe, but, or not. I was still new with it. It was.
You were new, but
I was new, so I didn't know what the heck that was.
To do that. I still do.
Yeah.
But we got together and we were coming up with it. The stuff was channeling very fast,
Yeah. I mean, I don't even know it was here. I'm going to look in my book, but it's from March 13th to April 22nd. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It's 8 songs.
Yeah.
Well, say April 23rd, because we went through Home Again. So that's 8 songs in a month and a half?
Yeah.
And I remember talking to one of your friends, and he's like, well, it takes me about 6 months to a year to write a song. And I was looking, because I didn't know, I was new at this, and I'm looking at it, I'm like, well, that's weird. We've got 8 songs written already, or whatever it was at the time. I'm like, I didn't know any better. I thought that's how it works. Because usually stuff flows, just like with you, the melody, or if I say this right, is that right? It's the
melody, but the music, the musicality, it comes through.
Yeah. So that comes through, and for me, the lyrics come through, and it's weird because I can and I don't know how it works, but it just like, whoop, there it is, and I'm writing, trying to keep up with it all coming, and then the next one comes, and 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 I'm like, wow, so for a song. Lyrically, but hopefully I'm using the words right there too. But it's the passion, the creativity that just comes flowing through. It's like, whoa, this is pretty cool. And to have that many, just in a month and a half at that point was like, that was the vision. I mean, he kept talking, Noel, you kept talking about, how you wanted to be out there and all that. And I'm like, well, that's neat. And maybe, we had already started doing, open mics at that point, singing a couple of these songs. And it's like, I was starting to really like that, so it was like getting out there, here, bigger, let's connect with people. It's 432 hertz and the words, and we're
That's
going to get
right.
all that stuff. So that's kind of where it
Yeah, no, I mean, that's where it
flowed.
all kind of flowed too. And yeah, I mean, this song is again a little simple, little ditty. I mean, again, the only other part was at the end, the little outro is wanting to know you. We're never
Mhm.
apart. And again, that's another, and it's also self, really wanting to know that self. We're never apart, literally. And that's the one you can never be apart, is within self, unless you choose to disconnect. And once you're totally at one within self, then you're really never apart from people that you make the connections with, the really close bonds, even if they're no longer here, you know what I mean? Or no longer
Yeah.
connected in that way. There's still that connection of love, of, who we are together, that goes
Yeah.
beyond just the actual face-to-face personal connection.
Yeah. And I mean, like, looking at the words from that day, I mean, the words, I think when we were getting to know each other, those words meant something different than they do now too.
Absolutely.
And like wanting to know you. I mean, I think I know you, and you
Right.
know me
Yeah.
better sometimes than we know ourselves, which that's kind of scary sometimes. And then now, though, with having walked through the last couple of years with each other, we know ourselves better too. So it was also like a calling from our separate selves, to want to know ourselves better.
Yes.
And that was the wording that I think, now that I'm looking back at it, it changes meaning all the time. It's not always the same. And every time you go through something new in your life, something changes meaning. You read a book again for the second, third, fourth time, and you find new meaning in it. So it's looking back at the connection you and I had in the moment, in reality, in 3D, whatever you want to call it, where we literally were never apart. I mean, other than when I went to work and getting to know each other and wanting to know each other and wanting to understand each other. And boy, did we do that. And, learning all kinds of things and helping ourselves to learn about ourselves and yada. It was like, ooh. So, but it was definitely well worth the journey. I'll give you that.
I'll give you that.
I'll give you that. It wasn't easy, but it was well worth the journey.
Well, no, it never is easy. I mean, but what it does is it starts to become more connected. Again, as we connected more with each other, especially in the challenging stuff, as long as the vantage point is looking at self too, even the challenging stuff is a gift, is a blessing. I mean, there's a point where it needs to like shift, and it's still there as a blessing, so that it can learn more about who I am, what I'm doing. You can learn more about who you are, what you're doing.
Yeah.
And because if we're always thinking it's the other person in relationship, then we're always going to be dissatisfied. It really is about self within the relationship.
Well, and then to add to that too, because we didn't just have a partnership
We had
with
all
music.
kinds.
We didn't just have a relationship. We had, like you mentioned earlier, we also had life and death that was involved with all of this, and the challenges of that, and walking through that. And believe me, that really helps you get to know yourself and somebody else a lot. And it wasn't an easy process, and it happened. And then, being there with each other, walking through that piece of it for each other, for your daughter,
Yes.
and all of that, it was like, whoa, I mean, that's like, I just want my life to be like, no, that's not what's going to happen. Sorry.
It's big stuff. It's big stuff, but that's what we're meant to do. So
but it was worth it. And we are, you and I, you and anyone we connect with, even if, like you said, we're no longer in each other's lives, we're truly never apart, because we're all one. Right. We're all connected anyway.
That's correct. And I thank you for all you've done.
Oh, thank you.
For me, with me.
Yes. Don't make me cry. You know how easy that is. Oh, God. All right.
Well, on that note,
yeah.
I hope you all enjoyed We're Never Apart, and that you feel the energy and connection within yourselves today and always. And please feel free to leave feedback, comments, anything that hits you, requests, anything you'd like. We'd love to connect with you. And if you'd like to be on the show, hit us up for that as well.
Ooh, that'd be fun.
That
Yeah.
would be fun. We're definitely open for that. But
Yeah.
much love to you and yours
Yes.
today and now and always. And have a beautiful day. Thanks for listening.
Thank you. Mwah. Bye.